Hello, this is Érika from Small Robot Studio, bringing you an easy guide on how to draw expressions for your characters. Throughout my artistic journey, expressions have been something super fun, but also painfully difficult. I had these struggles for years, and it took me a while to come up with this guide. To better understand this class, I recommend watching the first video on how to design faces, for I will reference concepts discussed there. So, let's start on how do expressions work. Let's think of expressions as color. Just as there are primary colors that create all the other colors, there are primary expressions. Based on the teachings of Scott McCloud, we have 6 basic expressions: joy, fear, disgust, sadness, surprise, and anger. Just like colors, they can change in intensity. The same emotion with different levels of intensity will look different, and we will probably assign different names to it. And again, just like colors, we can mix them and come up with secondary expressions. Joy and sadness combined will give us a hopeful expression. We can mix and match both intensities and primary expressions to come up with something much more complex than a basic happy face. What about a lot of surprise with some anger and a little fear? It might look something like, "How dare you?" If you think this is complex enough, it gets worse. There are more elements in play, such as attitudes, a sassy smile versus a malicious smile, or personality, a shy smile versus a cocky smile. What about thoughts or intentions? Smiling with worries on your mind versus a fake smile. Or even involuntary body reactions. Smiling with veins popping out of your forehead versus a smile with a blush. These elements are the ingredients that make an expression unique to each person. A smile will look very different on each person. If you wish to overcome the issue of all your characters sharing the same exact expression, you have to consider all this. Yet again, let's understand what's underneath, so we don't get scared with all this craziness. On my video of how to design faces, we studied some subcutaneous landmarks in the face. For expressions, we will need a few more, like both corners of the eyes, the top corners of the nose wings, and the 2 top corners of the chin. Under the lips, you will typically find a sad face rhythm. It describes the chin, and you can use it to find or design this landmark. These points are where muscles attach. Anywhere that it's not an attachment will be a flexible area. There are 12 main muscles responsible for the movement of the face. But I will not go in much detail because they deserve a video of their own. Also, I never draw these muscles individually. Instead, I group them with masks. Note how the shape and location relates to the muscles and landmarks. Think of these masks as made of clay. You can squash or stretch them, but be careful not to move the attachment points. Before adding the features, design the silhouettes of the mask. The silhouette itself will communicate most of the emotion. Invest time on good silhouettes. Let me show you how to start studying the 6 basic expressions. You can try this with your own characters, or you can use my diagram of a neutral face, which you can download through the links in the description below. For these studies, I am using again the teachings of Scott McCloud, especially to guide me on which muscles are working and the push and pull they do. I do this first to avoid making up movements, just as I would avoid flexing a knee in the wrong direction. Let's start simple. Joy activates 2 muscles. This one pulls the corners of the mouth towards the ear landmark. This one pushes the eyes vertically, squinting them. Knowing this, we can draw the mask, stretching the sides of the mouth and squashing the eyes. The shape of the features will be an echo of the mask. Now, surprise activates 3 muscles. These two muscles work in tandem, pulling the forehead, brows, and eyelids up. This muscle pulls down the lips and opens the mouth. Opening the mouth modifies the jaw. The chin will travel down as the mouth opens, and the cheeks will stretch, getting a bit thinner. For disgust, we have 5 active muscles: pushing the brows down, squinting the eyes, pulling the lips up in a sneer, squeezing the mouth to the center, while pushing the lips in a pout. A lot of squash creates wrinkles. Did you notice that most of the wrinkles follow the shape of the masks? Have fun with them. Just be careful not to exaggerate them when you want to keep your characters young looking. Anger also activates 5 muscles: pushing down the brows while opening the eyelids, pulling up the upper lip, and opening the mouth while pulling it to the sides. It is important to note, expressions are not symmetrical. Sure, it's easier, but it looks uncanny. Just push a bit more one side of the face. Fear is kind of similar, pushing the brows to the center, the forehead up, and opening the eyelids, opening the mouth, while pulling it to the sides and down. When there are more than 1 muscles pulling down the mouth, you will observe it creates 4 corners instead of only 2. The shape of the lips will follow the shape of the mouth. Finally, sadness involves at least 7 muscles: squinting the eyes, pushing the brows to the center and the forehead up, the mouth to the sides and down, while pouting the lips. Make sure your expressions include tongue, teeth, and gums. The amount of teeth we see will make an expression more powerful. Don't fall into the trap of turning the mouth into a black hole just because it's easier. My recommendation is to do studies like this for each basic emotion and for different characters. Then try again using a photo reference. Study from good actors. Normal people would exaggerate an expression, making it weird looking. And of course, do consider that a real expression also involves tilting of the head and posing the rest of the body. If you are ever working on expression sheets for animation-like projects, don't present your characters in a perfectly front or 3/4 view with no body movement whatsoever. That's it for this tutorial. If you find it useful, make sure that you leave a like so other people can find it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, as we are bringing out CG and illustration tutorials every week. Become a patron and access tutorial assets, bonus content, a private Discord, and more by clicking in the link below.